Our first award will be presented to the Outstanding Alumnus in Engineering and Information Technology. Jack Seuss, who nominated award recipient, cannot be here this evening, so Dr. John Martello, Vice President, Provost and President of UMBC Training Centers, will introduce the award recipient.
They didn't tell me it was going to be such a great big crowd, but let me just say that it's a real honor and a pleasure both to see Mike George after so many years, and most of all to introduce him as the recipient of UMBC's Outstanding Alumnus of the Year in the field of Engineering and Information Technology. I'll leave it to you to read the program. Mike has had a spectacular career after he graduated here in 1987 with a major in Information Systems, which was known at the time as Information Systems Management. Mike's work has included stints at the Baltimore Sun, the Washington Post Digital Inc. Company, and USA Today Paperless Publishing, and he spent the last dozen years or so at Amazon.com in Seattle, where he's held senior positions in leadership, management, human resources, and new business development. He helped Amazon grow its business domestically and internationally from a mere $300 million to over $20 billion, and is now vice president there. And he's maybe going to tell us a vice president of what, because it's a brand new thing.
Give him a hand for $20 billion.
Yeah. Mike is named on several patents and pending patents that relate to new group buying business processes and technologies. He's a respected thought leader in his field. Throughout his career, Mike has been a champion for UMBC, helping raise awareness about the university within the company. He organized a delegation of Amazon executives for campus visit that has included tours and discussions with faculty and students on possible research collaborations as well as company recruitment. And he told me a minute ago his goal is to have UMBC on their short list of targeted recruitment institutions, which would be fantastic for us. We're going to hold you to it. Mike is without a doubt a deserving recipient of this award because he epitomizes the sort of leader, professional, and community member that UMBC can proudly claim as a member of our family. But on a personal note, it's a special honor for me to introduce Mike this evening, since he was one of my many co-op students back in the early 1980s. When Mike and I first met, Information Systems was a relatively new field and a relatively new major at UMBC. The co-op program, which itself integrates academic study with professional work experience, was just 5 years old. And as I recall, I was about 5 years old. Most IS graduates began careers in programming, and Mike was pretty sure that's not what he wanted to do. He was a bit anxious about his career and his major, and the relationship of his major to his life's work. He was right at the point in his life where the link between major, professional roles and career made little sense, and this disconnect contributed to nearly paralyzing concern. The day we met, he was pretty upset, and he had found no one to talk to about his deep concerns regarding his career path. What was so simple for me to see were Mike's essential great qualities of motivation, hard work, and intelligence. He just needed to figure out the best setting and the role in which to apply his considerable skills. I encouraged Mike to take a co-op with IBM in the new Office Product Center downtown. They were rolling out a new machine. This will really date us. It was called the PC. Remember mainframes and tape drives and air-conditioned rooms? Surely, I thought, new roles and careers would emerge as this technology grew. We arranged for Mike to meet with the IBM manager downtown, and not surprisingly, Mike made a great impression and got the co-op position after his initial interview, and that was with Larry Baum, right? In short order, Mike became very successful, not surprisingly, and became one of the very few experts in this new product, the PC, not only in Baltimore, but probably the country. The relationship between academic study and his life's work began to make sense, and by the time Mike graduated, he had multiple offers with several companies. He took a position with Farm Credit Banks of Baltimore and led their very first introduction of PCs at remote offices across 5 states and Puerto Rico. Well, the rest is history, as they say. Mike clearly excelled in all that he did, and in retrospect, that first meeting was an important step in a wonderful life and a wonderful career. I just want to welcome you back to UMBC, Mike. It's great to see you. I want to congratulate you on all that you've done. We're so honored and pleased to present you with this award, and I have no doubt the best is yet to come. And I also want to recognize Mike's parents and his in-laws, if they could stand up. If you have a chance to meet them, you will understand why Mike is so successful. And his brother, I'm sorry.
Congratulations.
He actually stole some of my thunder. I wanted to introduce my mom and dad. Thank you very much, and I'm very honored. I was told I get 2 to 3 minutes to speak. I may take a little longer. I have a few stories I'd like to tell about my experience with UMBC that really molded me at a very impressionable time. It sort of set me in motion to be in the path of some opportunities that otherwise I don't know that I would have had. I want to thank John again, and I'm going to tell a little more detailed story of how we came to meet, to color it in a different way. And I want to thank Jack Seuss for nominating me. Unfortunately, he can't be here. He was a student when I was a student, and we've kept in touch over time. And again, my mom and dad are here, Bill and Carolyn George, mother and father-in-law, Gail and George Braun, and my brother, Bill George. Unfortunately, my wife couldn't be here. She's in California helping family right now. I think the most important thing that I learned here, and I kind of knew it already, but it reinforced it, was it's the people we meet and the experiences that we have with them and the relationships that really make a difference in our life. And I want to talk about 3 people that touched me at different times in different ways that left a lasting impression, and I really mean that. The first person is Ray Lannon. I don't know how long your history is with UMBC, but he was the first head of the Information Systems Management Department. He, on our last class, I was taking a survey class, IFSM 201. He had talked through the semester about a whole host of things. One of the things was Luddism, the whole notion of people sort of rejecting technology and change. And on the last day, he said, I want to thank all of you for sticking the semester out, and I want to thank you for pursuing a career in technology. Because as you've learned, technology may have a negative impact on some people. It will have a negative effect with an A. He said, if you can continue in this, on your path, on your journey with technology, and you stay current, you stay ahead of the game, you will be the people who won't necessarily be negatively affected by this change, but you'll be affecting change. And you can have a role in that and affect people in a positive way. So I thought that stuck with me from day one, and I believe it, and it actually does. I'm reminded of it every day at Amazon. Another person that I met taught me something completely different. His name was David Drapkin. I was taking COBOL 2. For those new students, that's a computer programming language. And we had just finished up COBOL 1, and I think my longest program was 500 lines of code. So he stands us all up day one, and he said, you need to want to learn structured programming if you're going to be in my class. In fact, if you don't want to learn, leave now. We're going to have a midterm and a final and 4 projects. The first project is 10,000 lines of code. The next project is 15,000, and it went to like 25,000 lines of code by the time we hit the end of the semester. I was traumatized. I was a little nervous about this. But he said, however, if you stay, you will understand structured software development. I guarantee it. He said, for those of you who stay in the room, 50% of you will leave after the midterm. So I thought, I have to do this. I did. I thought I have to do this because he was setting standards which, we have a leadership principle at Amazon. We talk about having high standards, and the way we articulate it is, most people consider your standards unreasonably high. And I learned that lesson with David Drapkin in this class. He set a standard that felt unachievable. And at the end of the day, when I got through with this class, I understood structured software development. And I got an A. Best A I ever got. And the last person I want to talk about is John Martello. So John sort of glossed over how I met him a little bit. I was really upset. I was crying. I was at the counter of the counseling office and pleading with them to please talk to me, because I might join the Foreign Legion. I'm on the edge. And they said, I'm sorry, but do you have an appointment? Do you see me? I need to talk with somebody. They said, but I'm sorry, Mike, you don't have an appointment. You're going to have to come back. So I'm sobbing now. I'm walking down the hall, and I see this guy in an office. I'm looking at him. I'm crying. He's looking at me. He has long hair, a mustache, elbows on his patches, and a pipe, and I'm thinking, he's got to be important. So I invite myself into his office, and I just start talking. And he just looked at me and shook his head, and he said, what's your name? I said, Mike George. He said, what's wrong? And I told him, programming, don't want to do it, I don't like this. And he said, do you know who I am? I said, no. He said, I'm the Associate Director of Cooperative Education. Do you know what that is? No. And he explained it. And he said, well, my computer companies need all kinds of people to work for them. He starts going like this. He says, how would you like to sell computers? And I said, my father will love this because he was in the shoe business for his career. I said, well, I've sold shoes. I guess I can sell computers. So he tells me, you have to fill this application out, go back to the dorm, come back. This is the last day of applications. I filled it out, came back, shipped it off to IBM. A week later, was interviewed. Dad took me downtown, had my first washable Hager suit. It was beautiful. And then a month later was informed that I got a job. Now, what I learned from John is that the world was much bigger than Point Pleasant and Glen Burnie. And he did that for me. So, I'm going to thank you. And I want to thank you, Freeman. I want to thank Jack and the university for this honor. Thank you very much.